Hi, Dorothy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for saying yes to be interviewed today. I'd like to introduce myself formally. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. So, salary negotiation. It is something that I had often feared myself, being in the corporate previously for the past 15 years. FYI, I just left my 9 to 5. So, but I am sure a lot of people will be able to take something away from this and resonate. So, I would like to read a bit of introduction for our listeners, and then we can get right into our conversation.
Sure, sounds great.
Awesome. So, hey everyone, we have Dorothy Mashburn here with us. Dorothy is a leading authority in negotiation who has a burning mission to champion the underserved at corporate tables and close the gender pay gap. With a track record of negotiating pivotal deals with global giants and managing international teams, her unique insights empower minorities and women to achieve their dream jobs and salaries. Her expertise lies in teaching techniques of influence and persuasion that can be harnessed to negotiate high visibility projects, promotions, and equitable salaries. Wow, a topic that I never thought that I'd bring onto my show, but much needed. So, welcome, Dorothy, to the show.
I'm so happy to be here talking to your audience. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, before we start off anything serious, can you share with us what was it like growing up as a Dorothy Mashburn first?
That's a great question. Okay, so I grew up in the jungle in the foothills of the Himalayas. And
No.
yeah, near your part of the world, a little bit near your part of the world. And I was always the odd one out because my father was in the Indian police service and he moved around a lot. So I was always the new kid in a new school every year, every 2 years, and so on. So I learned to make friends quickly. I enjoy friendships and deep relationships, and I have people that I can call on throughout the world. And
Wow,
that was
yeah. Oh, that's
my
the best part.
childhood. Yeah. And at 18, I came over to the United States to go for my undergrad. And then ended up going through MBA school and getting jobs and getting married and everything here in the
Staying
United States.
there, like settling down
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
States.
yeah.
Also, wow. Okay, so can you share with us your backstory on how you got to this topic of salary? Why is it your niche?
Yeah. I have a passion to help people who were in my shoes 15, 16, 18, 20 years ago. I was a new kid in a new country, new culture. Even though I spoke English, the English that was spoken here, the jargon, the culture was so different to anything that I had been exposed to before. So there was a lot of trial and error and learning by doing, failing, getting back up, surviving, and then figuring it out all over again, right? For every single thing, it took a lot of effort. So I've always been a champion of people who have not had the privilege of a established network, their own parents who've helped them through the ropes in particularly corporate America. And then through my job, I've had the fortune of loving the principles of influence and persuasion, being exposed to negotiations. Now, in over a 15-year career, I've negotiated, millions, billion-dollar deals and over 600 negotiations. So during the pandemic, I started thinking about, I've always helped many, many, many people at
Corporation.
yeah. Now I want to help individuals
Yeah.
find their power and then teach them how to use these principles that I've learned through my job opportunities to boldly, confidently negotiate for themselves. And as I started doing the work, it was very organic. A lot of people reached out and said, "Hey, you've inspired me today," or "Hey, I was worried about asking for that pay raise, but because you posted this, it helped me get the strength to do so." And that is the fuel that keeps the business going.
Wow. Well, there's a lot for me to learn from you. Like because you transitioned from. So can I is it safe to say that you've also moved out from corporate, or are you still with corporate and doing your
I'm still with corporate, and this is a passion project. I mean, it's a business,
right? Is a
but
business?
maybe
Okay,
someday, 10 years from now, I will do this because this is doesn't feel like work at all because I love it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow, what an awesome journey. So, okay, now on to the question that most of our, probably the person sitting on the other side of the interviewees. So when they're asked how to answer the question, what are your salary expectations? So how should one start when they open their mouth?
yeah. You can just say thank you for asking me that question. It's really important to me, salary question, and we both know that is a big part of the equation of employment. However, I would like to know a little bit more about the job before I can say with a 100% certainty what my requirements are going to be. So your job as an interviewee is to punt as much and deflect as much as you can to the very end, because you
Mhm.
have leverage when you have job offer. But until you have the job
Right.
offer, the leverage belongs to the employer. And you don't know, right? A lot of times we think the job consists of X, but then when you're in the job, it's X plus Y plus Z plus A, plus Z, right?
X negative,
We all know that.
X dash one, X dash
Yes.
two.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So you want to touch like that human side of the interviewer and the hiring manager and say, like, look, we all know, right? Like what is in the job description doesn't always match what the true requirements and impact that is going to be asked of this person. So let's discuss that a little bit before we answer the question, like, what are your salary expectations?
So does that apply to face and also phone interviews?
It does. Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Deflect as much as you can and then get down to the nitty-gritty of the job description. Only then, okay, justify. This is
Yeah.
based on what you've already mentioned. I feel this is the right pay for me. Even though they're not pegging it against the current salary. Now, this is the question that I have, and I think most people have as well. Is it important to, okay, I don't know how to rephrase it, but disclose your previous salary because, they want to, that will act as a yardstick against the future salary that you're going to get with the new job.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. So in some countries you're not required to. In some countries you are, right? So you have to kind of know where you're at and where you're applying. So if it is not required, don't disclose it, right? Because what you are going to do in the future has very little to do to do what you did in the past.
Mhm.
What happens in our minds is we get anchored. We think
We are
we're doing
being, yeah,
we are
lowballed.
being exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if you made, $90,000 a year, US dollars a year, want to, yeah, but you're capable. Maybe you took it because it was close to home, but you have a PhD and you can possibly make 250,000, but you just did that. You have to take care of family. So now when you are ready to use your full PhD and your full talent skills, that $90,000 job has no bearing on what you can do as your true potential. So it's always like it's better to not reveal it. Now, if it is required by the state or the country or the province for you to disclose it, then what you can do, your job in the interview is to make sure to emphasize that what that role was, if it comes up, that role was not equivalent to what you're applying for or what you're going to do for the company in the future. So that onus of interviewing and telling that story is on you so that they don't peg you in that lower job salary category
Mhm.
because completely it could be completely different to what you're going to be doing in the future.
So, okay. So let me recap that. So, are you saying that when, let's say, I'm interviewing for a job and I said I'm ready to accept a job with a better pay, but then I don't know what's the, for example, the range is always a range for a role, right? And then it's the job of the interviewer, the HR department, particularly the acquisition team, talent acquisition team, to save as much cost as they can for the company. But then it's it's against the advantage of the interviewee. So are you saying that I should be able to ask that question? Like, is it, what is your budget, or how best to position myself?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during the entire interview process, you're going to be talking about the future, right? You're going to be talking
Yeah. That's right.
how you're going to come in and help the company
Mm-hmm.
have the results that they're expecting. It could be revenue, it could be cost, it could be process improvement, whatever they're hiring you for. And when you talk about that, don't ask for what is the budget. Just say that when I come in, so you're going to ask, like, what are you trying to solve by having this role filled? Or what is the job required? Like, what are you trying to do? Right. And so they'll tell you, right, we have a project that needs to be delivered ASAP. There is, something we have to get approval from a regulatory body yesterday. We need help. We need a project manager, whatever that is. Then you start talking about, well, I have that experience, and you tell the story, in my previous role or previous to previous role, I did X and we delivered the project on time
Mm-hmm.
and under, so I have experience to do this for you. And then you sprinkle that in during the interview. And then when it comes to salary discussion, you say, like, remember, I can hit the ground running because I have the skills
Experience.
necessary. Yeah. Skills, experience, and I can deliver this, whatever it is that you need. And then you say, in order for me to do that, it's going to cost, and you're
This.
not going to say like it's going to cost this, but
Yeah.
the value I bring is worth X money, whatever your salary requirements are.
Awesome. So it's important also to be courageous, and I think to also do a bit of market research
Mm-hmm.
for yourself, and see where you are, what value you bring to the table. And I think this flows nicely to my next question. So when do we walk away from a negotiation? Hi, I'm Nierras, your host of the Your Worthless podcast. Now, if this real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
Yeah, yeah. With a job, it's always a little bit tricky. But what I recommend is, if possible, go get a second offer, right? Now, in a tough job market, the answer would be different. But let's just assume that the job market is pretty amenable to job seekers. You go get a second offer, or you say to your
Oh,
current company that,
nice. Okay.
I want to be promoted or whatever, right? So let's say you have a job offer from one company and you're in the middle of negotiations. Then you go to your current company and say, "Hey, I would love to be promoted. I've done 6 years of work and I've done this. What do you think about getting promoted?" Now, whatever your company says, that's your option B. We call in negotiation parlance, we call it BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement, but it simply means your option B. So if your option B is better than option A, which is your job you're negotiating, then it's time to walk away because you're going to stick with what you already know, your option B, right? Because it's better.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say your option A is better, then you conclude your negotiations. You have about four times back and forth before it gets uncomfortable. So if you've done the fourth one and then you check with your current company and this is still better, then you take the one that is better and you leave your current company and go take that one. And so now you can use that current company as a leverage point or a second job offer as a leverage point to the negotiation that you're doing.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty brave. Because I've never, for me, like throughout my career, then I don't know if I'm going to enter corporate again. But before, I would probably stick to a company until it gets uncomfortable. So the situations for me were I've learned enough, and then it's time for me to try a different thing. Or some of it, the culture wasn't a good fit for me, and then I left. Or some of it also, I've been let go. So and because of the reorg and all those things. So I guess different people have different take or perception or their risk appetite on whether they want to put themselves out there or whether they want to. But I think and because they are also tied to factors such as stability, providing for family, etc. Right?
Mhm.
And also now I did mention a little bit of that, but so how does one build confidence and charisma if they want to be on the other side saying, yes, this is my word, and this is what I bring to the table.
Yeah, I when I work with my clients, we work on this concept called your want portfolio. So your want portfolio is exactly what you said: stability, culture fit, right? So all of that. So it's not just salary. If you think about it, it's compensation, it's way of life, it's quality of life, it's what's important to you. And so when you work on the want portfolio, when I work with clients, is that is your true north. So if you are in a back and forth and you say, you ask yourself, is my want portfolio getting, checked? Am I getting check marks on all my requirements? And if you feel shaky or in self-doubt, go back to your want portfolio and say, wait, this was what's important to me. And this company or this organization is not willing to meet with me on that, meet me at these requirements. And so this is not the right fit for me. And then you also tell yourself that the company is giving you a job, so that's a good thing, but you're also bringing services. So it's not that it's one-sided, one side has all the power. You got to think of it as an equal relationship, a partnership, and then go back to your want portfolio and say, okay, this company is giving me $1 million, but I have to work 100 hours a week, and I don't get to see my family for a year, like all that. Then it's like, oh, no, I don't think this is right for me. So it's really important to go back to that, the core of what you're looking for in your job.
Don't lose yourself in a job,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would say.
yeah,
And it's also
exactly.
important to a relationship as well. I mean, not just a
Yeah,
job or in anything, right?
yeah. And every person is different and they have different life situations. So it is the most important in a negotiation to identify for yourself what are your top priorities that you're going to go get in the negotiation.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that, Dorothy. So why, okay, why, no, how and why do women self-sabotage their negotiation?
Yeah, that's a $100 $1 million
Oh
question.
God. I would say I
Yeah,
was a
you
victim of
know,
that too.
yeah, same, right? Same. And you have to give ourselves a little bit of grace, right? Because I don't want to go into like history lesson, but there is a lot of social programming, whether it's movies, plays, stories, fairy tales that tell women that we have to be the nice girl or the quiet girl and good things will happen, right? Like if you take Cinderella, you're supposed to be sweet and kind and Prince Charming will come and rescue you. Yeah, like pick any story in any culture, and the message for women is to be seen but not very very loud. Be, be competent but not arrogant.
Yeah. Not too much.
Not too much, right?
Yeah.
And the research tells us that when women stray from that societal path, both men and women penalize us for straying from what is called the normal thing for women to behave as. So there's a ton of society pressures on this programming. So we've got to acknowledge that, right? And so it's not all us that is we're thinking, oh, we are deficient, or it's everyone telling us that there's something wrong with you if you stray from the what is expected of you. So once you acknowledge that, then you've got to think about, is it true that I'm thinking imposter thoughts? Is this real or is this imagined? So there's a lot, and even the whole imposter syndrome, pop culture of it, it's almost
Pop
like,
culture.
it's like, yeah, it feels like now it's just holding us back. I talk
Yeah.
to a lot of women and they say, I have imposter syndrome and I don't know what to do about it. Well, like it almost sounds like it's another tool to hold us back, hold us down. And not saying that, it is not there, but everybody has it and you've got tools and techniques to get over it. But you've got to also kind of think about what are some of these stories that we're telling ourselves that keep us in this self-doubt mode.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was a recent study out of Stanford that says, at least I don't know if it's international, at least in the US, women are asking for more since the Linda Babcock study,
Mm.
but they're being denied more. So it's interesting how
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, okay, women know their worth. Okay, I know this. I know I bring this, so I'm gonna stand up. But then you have this pushback from both women and men
Yes.
saying, okay, making you doubt yourself, and also resulting in you having imposter syndrome. So what are your thoughts on that? I'm not gonna ask
Yeah.
like how do we deflect that, or maybe how do we get past that, but because
Yeah.
there's so many ways to solve that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There is a good book. Actually, I think it's a book now. It was a study by Alison Fragale. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Fragale. But
Mm-hmm.
she talked about this concept of a likable badass. It's
Ooh, I like that.
yeah. It's
Hashtag
basically
likable badass.
badass.
I'm
So
gonna
it
put
it,
that
it
as
is
my
true. Yeah.
hashtag.
Yeah, it is true, right? That we have to walk this fine line, right? We can't be too aggressive, we can't be too meek. So Allison talks about this likable badass where you are still driven, you're still delivering results, but you're approachable. So it's a combination of the two that is the winning strategy, and I found that to be true in negotiations as well, in leadership as well, where if you're approachable but also very on results, you are like no funny business, right? Like results of a company or organization, you have to deliver, you are accountable, and then everything else, like you use your ability to nurture, you use your ability to be empathetic, whatever comes naturally or whatever is considered feminine leadership traits, you combine that with some masculine traits, and then when you do that, it helps get past some of that pushback that society is going to automatically give you because we have thousands of years of this social structure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one way that I've found is a good way to maneuver through all of the stereotypes.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, now how to build a strong personal brand on LinkedIn.
My
I
favorite
love
topic
your
these days.
followers. Your followers are like 5,000 people and counting. I love it. Like, so
Yeah.
can you share with me? Can you share with me? How do we do that? Becoming a podcast host was a natural extension of my second act. And after spending 15 years in the corporate world, I've transitioned to helping individuals overcome challenges like navigating tough relationships, career burnout, and aligning their mission with their soul's calling. By certifying as an RTT hypnotherapist and a lifestyle coach, I've made it my mission to empower people to recreate the life they deserve and building a supportive community through my podcast. Now, let me ask, are you facing challenges like struggling to reprogram your mind to attract wealth, weight issues that feel like a constant yo yo, insomnia or restless nights from daily worries, or just a lack of confidence in public speaking? If the answer is yes, visit www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com and grab a free hypnosis audio of these common struggles. It's a sneak peek into how my coaching works. Are you feeling shy? Don't be, because I'm as real as it gets. Let's connect on Instagram and LinkedIn and start your transformation today.
I've just been posting like what comes to me and my heart, and I've been thinking
Right.
about what would I have wanted to know at 21, or 22 or 23, or, like every year that I didn't have a mentor or somebody to look up to, I just post, and people have been responding very nicely to that. It's just trying to have those genuine connections versus like trying to chase like a viral or anything like that.
Post or just trying to get them to work with you, right?
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
posting.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so that's been so LinkedIn is, you've got to, I actually just published a newsletter, so you can probably check it out on LinkedIn. Breaking Barriers is my newsletter. And I talk about clarity is key. Like, what are you trying to do in the short to midterm? and then post for that. So you could be trying to get a promotion or attract a recruiter or build a business. First, you've got to define that. And then who's your audience? Is it your recruiter? Is it a boss? Is it other people you're trying to get into your business? Who is that? And then your content needs to be of service to them. So, for example, say my client is somebody who it feels stuck in their job and wants something new for themselves. So my content is all about, hey, if you're feeling stuck, I was in the same shoes. I was in your shoes, and this is what I did to get unstuck. And if you need help, reach out to me. Um, be one way. Or if I want to say I'm a sterilization expert, so I'm going to start posting on sterilization, right? What are the environmental impacts of it? What do I know about it? What is the regulatory work look like? What is my unpopular opinion for the future? So those are some of the things that you can start posting. Post like 2 times a week, and then increase it. That's a great way to get noticed, and you will notice. Like I requested one of my clients to post, and she got 1,700 impressions the first time she posted, and that got her like really excited. For reference, like if you post every day, you probably get like 300 or 400. But the first time she posted was like 1,700, and she was super excited. So she got like that got her the fuel she needed. So just start posting.
Uh, just start posting. Now,
Yeah.
my next question is, Dorothy, how does one overcome that fear of being judged when they post something that,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, because my podcast talks
Yeah.
about self-worth,
Yeah.
I know, and myself included before, but I woke up, I wake up every morning, try to break through that and say, this is what I feel. So how can one? But some people are still stuck in that mindset. Why, quote unquote, why would somebody hear what I have to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that goes back to their what they think of themselves. Yeah,
Insecurities. Yeah.
yeah,
Or what have you
insecurities.
been told? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was in the same boat, right? Like about a year ago when I started being intentional about posting on LinkedIn, I was like, oh, what if people think I don't know what I'm talking about, or what, all the
Yeah,
what. The one thing you need to remember is the internet is a very noisy place. So even if you post something, chances are nobody's going to see it, right?
and like scroll past it, and
So passionate, yeah. It is we think that we post something and everybody's gonna know and we're gonna have like embarrassment. The opposite is true. Like you have to
that
post
is
and
so
post and
true.
post for
And
somebody else.
post and post and post, because
Yeah,
and the right tribe will be attracted to you.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
true.
So yeah, just think about that. It is a very noisy place. And second, you don't have to have 10,000 hours in a subject, right? If you're 6 months ahead of somebody, you are an expert to that person because you've gone through 6 months of something they haven't gone through. So
Ooh, I like that.
yeah,
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
Expertise doesn't have to be that you got a PhD.
Yeah, because that's the most, because people will look at your credentials like, okay, how does he or she, pair up against this one? And then why would I listen to this person, right? But I love the fact that you said if you have gone through something and somebody else is going through or will go through it, that makes you, and how do I say this? I don't, is it an expert is okay? But
Yeah,
you've gone through it, right? Yeah.
yeah.
You've
You've
gone
gone through.
through that.
Mm-hmm.
And how
You
did you
provided.
do it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're the guide.
I think I know where I'm coming from already, because I've been pondering on something, made the move out from a corporate job. So some people, they probably be thinking to themselves, but not so, outright with the question, how did you do it, Nick? Like, what? I mean, there
Yeah.
are other things as well, right? Maybe health, or maybe just for my sanity, for my well-being, those things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 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 awesome. So, Dorothy, what work are you most proud of so far?
I think it's seeing my clients go, wow, I didn't know I had that in me. That is something is priceless because they come to me with fear and insecurities and doubts. They don't see what I see, like this unlimited potential, this ability to do whatever. they've set their minds to. And seeing that light bulb moment to say, wow, like I didn't know I was capable of doing this and I did it. And thanks for believing in me. I think that every time that happens, and it happened a lot in this last few years, it's my happy place. So I would say the work I do with my clients is my thing that I'm most proud of.
I mean, hearing you say it, it's like it's the service, right? It's the act of service that we give to people. It's
Yeah.
not so much about what we do. Like, I know you have your 9 to 5 still, but the
Yeah.
work outside your 9 to 5 is the one that gives
Yeah.
you passion and fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, right? The people I manage will also like look at my LinkedIn and say, hey, I really like what you posted. I needed to hear that today, right? And so there's a lot of people who can benefit from your expertise. And if you don't share it, then you are hiding that somebody needed that help today. So think about it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody needs your, yeah, it's like your ex, even though nobody is like out there trying to say, hey, I need your help, but maybe scrolling past that post and then we say, I needed this today. And that's
Yeah.
okay. This is what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you for that. So, Dorothy, what are you working on currently?
Yeah. So right now I'm working for a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives who are also wanting to start a side business because they have 15, 20 years of expertise. That's my ideal client. And so when they come to me, they say, I don't want to necessarily exit corporate, but I do want some passion. So I'm putting together a kind of a program for that customer to say, okay, now that I've done this for 2 years, I know how to show you the ropes, how to price correctly, how to negotiate, how to contract negotiate. So that's kind of like the next iteration of the business model.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it's all about empowerment. I'm all about empowerment. So if people come to me and say like, look, I'm feeling stuck, here's how you empower yourself. If they're like, hey, I want to have a business idea, but I don't know where to go, this is how I empower you to go execute and realize your dreams.
I love that
Yeah.
because this is something that I've been working on myself as well. So I haven't gone out there and like start advertising myself on podcasts yet because I'm still hosting. I'm still hosting, yes, on my show, but I've been learning so much from people like yourself. And now I'm gonna have that confidence. Okay, you know what? This is the program that I have. I'm gonna price it correctly, and this is what I bring to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Think about the value the other person is going to get from you, and that's how you price it.
yeah, and that's gonna change their lives too.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, we could go on to another thing, another episode saying like how do you price your work, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's do it.
yeah, let's do it. Let's perhaps set up another one so people can benefit from that as well. Okay, Dorothy. Now the pivoting to the self-worth question. So now for you, the question is, how would you define self-worth and why is it crucial for personal growth and happiness?
Ooh, that's a big
How do you
question.
think?
Yeah. It's the belief that you can figure out anything, right? It's the belief that you are capable and you are an amazing human person, however you think of yourself. A lot of us are in this mindset of, can I, will I, what will they think? But it's embracing yourself in everything, your good, bad, and all of your flaws. And you know that what you were yesterday, you're no longer today. You've done this much better and you continue to do this much better. And owning that, right? And embracing
Yeah,
that and
ownership.
saying, like,
Oh, I love that. Ownership.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and going all in to say, I am going to bet on myself every single time.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to bet on myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ownership.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Thank you. You're actually the second podcast, the second interview that I had after coming back from the States. So I've stopped my podcast for about a month because I just wanted to see what's out there. And also I actually met up some of my guests that side of the country. So, and coming back, you're the second person. And I'm like, okay, this is what I love what I do. So I'm going to continue doing that because the next step is to put myself out there already. Hosting, now I'm going to go on
Yes.
shows. It's guests as
Yeah.
well. So thank
Fantastic. You
you
should
for
do
the
it. You're
confidence.
worthy. You're
Yeah,
worthy.
thank you. Okay, Dorothy, what is your heart's greatest wish?
Heart's greatest wish.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have one or two, or is it just
Yeah,
one?
two. Yeah, just two for the world or for yourself, for your family.
For the world, I would say equality. Equality for genders, neurodivergence. Any person who feels different, they want to feel seen and heard and embraced. And for myself, I have two boys, two children, and health, wealth, and happiness for them.
Yay. The three pillars of my
Yeah.
prayers too. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you. Okay. Is there anything that keeps you up at night or do you sleep well?
I sleep well. I think what keeps me up at night is mostly probably the children. They're getting into preteen and teen, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm, like the imposter thoughts we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna get through this part of my life and be the strong mom that they need me to be? Those kinds of things. Again, going back to everybody can figure it out, and I can figure it out too. And I just kind of say that to myself and go back to bed.
I love that. Okay. If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Always bet on yourself.
I love it. Always bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. I'm gonna bet on myself. Thank you. I needed that. It's 8:40 a.m. for me. I needed that boost.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hopefully you'll have a rocking day the rest of the day then.
Thank you. A rocking life. It's just gonna
Rocking
be
life.
upward from here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? If things go bad, you are a strong woman and you're going to get right back up and you're going to be resilient and you're going to figure out the next step and the next step.
Thank you. Okay, so Dorothy, how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is my favorite place, my home. So it's Dorothy Mashburn. You can just look me up on LinkedIn. And then my website is dorothymashburn.com. And then I also have a podcast, Salary Negotiations Made Simple. Be sure to check it out, like and share and rate because it does really help with the reach.
Awesome. And there you have it, guys. You heard it from the person herself, Dorothy Mashburn. Before we close off, Dorothy, I'd like to thank you personally for the work that you're doing for the world and for advancing every step of the way despite the challenges, creating trails for those that will come after you. For our listeners, this has been that one podcast with that controversial name, You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, if you find yourself thinking that you are worthless, you are probably not alone. But more importantly, ask yourself a level deeper, if I'm worthless, then why the heck am I here? It is because your soul have chosen to be here energetically all the way from the ethers. And for that reason itself, you are worthy and you are enough. This has been Dorothy Mashburn, your guest of the day, and Nick Nierras, your host, signing off. Thank you so much, Dorothy, for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.